Welcome. Can't be late if you just keep adjusting the time. Welcome, everybody, to the stream. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to the Bible reading tonight. My name is Stuart Davis, flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. Been a Christian all my life, 40 years, non-denominational Protestant. Don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better, day in and day out. Many days I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong, but it doesn't matter. If you're tuning in, if you're listening to what I have to say, you're going to be getting my honest opinions on whatever it is that we're talking about. So if you're somebody who is new to the faith, somebody who is looking for meaning, maybe you're not a Christian, but you're searching for something and you want to know what Christianity is all about, what Jesus is all about, what following him means. Welcome to the show. Maybe you don't want to get the perspective. Maybe you don't want to hear it from some sort of big social media Christian influencer, not from a pastor on the pulpit somewhere. You want to hear it from the everyman, the guy sitting in the pew next to you. That's what you're going to get here. Hopefully, this very relaxed, casual stream will give you the setting that you need to potentially springboard you to a path to salvation. Hopefully. And if that's the case, I've done my job. But I want you to tune in, and I want you to get whatever information you can from me. Ask questions, be inquisitive, and I'll be as helpful as I can. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics or discussions, welcome as well. Glad to have you here. We have a great group of folks who tune into this channel night in and night out, and they talk in the chat, which is that way. So no matter where you are in your faith journey, in your life, if you are just trying to figure this all out and just looking for information, or you are more mature in your faith than I am, more knowledgeable, which isn't all that difficult, I implore you, please join the chat. Please be part of our group. This chat makes this show better. You can make this show better if you give me your questions, your experiences, your impressions of what we're talking about. Give me your takes. Where am I right? Where am I wrong? In your mind, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. And I promise you, the content gets better. Content gets better. And that would be great. All right, folks. That's our intro. We are starting a new book of the Bible tonight. How's everybody doing? Zero is first tonight, followed by Mr. Felty, Dresden, Veritax. The sun is going down too late these days, eh? I don't know. I'm one of those people. I really like change of seasons. I really enjoy rolling with it. Fall is awesome. It is. The sun going down late. There's some cons that go along with it, but at the same time, one of the things that I love about the Christmas season is how soon the lights and festivities start when the sun goes down. So it's not that bad of a thing to me. But yeah, affects how the kids getting home from school. They've only got they've got several hours less of daylight, it seems. And that obviously calculates into that. But for me, the feeling, I love it. I really like rolling through the seasons. And it doesn't matter to what. Everybody's like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's so hot, I can't wait till fall. You're like, oh, it's so cold, I can't wait till summer. It's whatever. There are times where it is too cold, and there are times when it is too hot, but I really like the change. I really like the change. Of course, it's more temperate in Virginia, right? I'm not like Porcupine, welcome to the show, who's already got a chance of snow Saturday in central Wisconsin. Maybe winter gets a little old when you're that far north. But here in Virginia, it's great. In fact, actually, what I would say is we don't get enough snow. We don't get enough snow. We haven't had a good snow in maybe 10 years. Maybe 10 years. My kids have not been able to enjoy a really good snowy winter. I would love, and people around here hate snow. Hate snow. This is just one of those states. This is just one of those localities where if the mere mention, utterance of snow, everybody charges to the supermarket to get their ingredients for their milk sandwiches. It's um it's not a great place. Everyone's like, I hate snow, I hate snow. No, no, no. I'm not as a big fan of the cold, but snow I love. I love driving in it. I love four-wheeling in it. I love sledding in it. I love the whole culture of snow. It's great. But I haven't had my kids haven't really had to experience that. My son's almost 10 years old. I can't remember the last time he really got to play in the snow. It's been a while. In the words of crap, what's his last name? Aaron, oh, who was the guy from Stained? Dang on it. In the words of the lead singer from Stained, it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been too long. So, hoping for lots of snow this year, as usual. Snow on Christmas. Heck, I like snow on Thanksgiving. But Aaron Lewis, thank you. Aaron Lewis. I like snow on Thanksgiving, but snow on New Year's. Snow on my mm, mm, almost gave a little bit too much information on that one. But yeah, I love it. I love it to death. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So Veritex, I'd say it's been 4 to 5 years here, but further north, yeah, there's a big. So I used to live just a little bit further north than I am right now. Right now I'm in Mechanicsville in Hanover County. Just north of Hanover is Caroline County, and it feels like now Hanover is this very oddly shaped county. It's like this, right? If you're looking at a map, it's narrow but long. That's what she said. And so it goes north to south. You can drive across Hanover in 15, 20 minutes. You can drive from north to south and be in Hanover for well over an hour. I mean, it's just the way it is. But just north of there is Caroline. That was me and my wife's first house was in Caroline. And the something about the region. If we got like 2 inches of snow in Hanover where I was working, up in Carolina, we got like 12 inches. Because I remember telling my boss, I was like, "Hey, um, I'm just gonna take the day off from work. I'm just gonna shovel snow out of this out of our driveway so that my wife can get her car out. I can get out, but I've got time to burn, so um I'm just gonna shovel snow, drink beer and shovel snow, and make a day out of it. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like he goes, "We only got an inch and a half, 2 inches." And I'm like, "Let me send you a picture." So I texted him a picture, and the snow was coming up to my knee. And he's just like, "That's wild." I was the only one where I worked who lived us that far north, and it's just funny. It's just funny. So anyway, chance of snow. What is it? Mid-teens in Colorado. That's cold. We got a warm front coming in over here, but then it's going to drop again. Porcupine said 30 to 50 inches average snowfall here. I like it. I go for that. It lingers a lot, though. I'm assuming Porcupine. It lingers maybe a little bit too long. Takes on so just a little bit too long. Like it did. That is the one thing I want about seasons. It needed to, if it's going to be cold, it needs to just get cold and stay cold. Right? It's going to be warm. It needs to get warm and stay warm. Not this. One day it's 50 degrees, the next day it's 80 degrees. Can't do it. My sinuses can't deal with it. So I'll probably be not feeling all that well once this cold front comes in. All right, so sticks around until April. No. So Job's over with. And here's one last closing thought on Job. One last closing thought on Job. Maybe you don't focus as much on Job because maybe things in your life are going well. Maybe things are great. Maybe things are fine. Just chugging along. Couldn't be happier. I just want you to remember that's how life was for Job before at the beginning of this. Not only were things going well, he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. He was doing right by God before all this befell him. And maybe one of the things that Job has impacted me the most on is now I'm always worried about the other shoe dropping. Things are going great. I'm just waiting for it to end. I am well blessed in my life. I do not want. I'm just well blessed in my life. I do not want. Not want the bad things to happen. I mean, who would, right? I don't. So that's my closing thing. Just remember, things are going great. It won't forever. You're going to go through more trials. Gone through some trials this past 16 months. Individuals are just kind of on their own. But in the end, I'm still a very blessed person. My family is still very well blessed. God is great. Amen. God is great. And even if things weren't great, he is still great. But I'm in a good season of my life. I've been in a good season of my life for a long time, I feel like. And that was when that's after the beginning, the first half of my life, year 1 through 20 was very difficult in many ways, and a lot of times where I felt like things were not going my way. But even then, my parents weren't divorced. So I grew up without any of that drama. You know, I experienced a lot of behavioral issues as a kid, trying to get this ADHD thing. But my dad was spending as much money and resources as he could trying to get me fixed. Trying to just figure me out. But I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. I didn't have a lot of friends. I felt lonely. I felt depressed. I just felt like, I was very fatalistic, which I am still a bit fatalistic. I was very fatalistic in thinking just this is going to be my life. I'm just going to be lonely and awkward. However, I'm going to be me, but this is just going to be what my life is like. Here I am 20 years later looking back, And from that 20 to 25 year period was there was a lot of Army stuff, and then 25 to now is my married life, family life. 30 years old to 40 years old, I've been a parent, and I've loved every minute of it, every single moment of it. So, been in a good season for a while. I hope it stays that way. I don't want it to end, but it could. It happened to Job, and Job was one of the best of us. And at the same time, what happened to Job didn't last forever. So if you are in a bad point in your life, maybe I should have ran through all of this yesterday when we were reviewing Job. If you're at a bad part in your life, just keep chugging along. It's probably going to get better. It's probably going to get better. So, welcome, Alex. How's it going? All right, so now we're going to start with Psalm. And Psalm is not, again, the Psalm is going to be a little bit different. Job is, again, even though it is a little bit more poetic, and it's telling a story, right? It's telling a story. Genesis, story. Exodus, story. Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. There's some numbers and genealogy throughout. From there up to here, there's some logistics, counting, there's genealogy, but generally there's a arc to this, and maybe I should bring up the timeline. Sadly, back to work, so I'm listening in AFK. It's okay. I like listening at work. So we've got, Genesis, Exodus, Joshua, Samuel, Judges, all the stuff that we've been reading. And where does Psalms go? Psalms is basically Joshua and Judges all the way to past Chronicles. And during the exile. So it doesn't come when they're under rule. Like, right, Veritax says it's poetry and wisdom rolling into one. Matt Felty says, since we're in Psalms, I'll recommend the recent Sean Ryan Show series with John Lavelle, former Ranger and started the Warrior Poet Society. Talks about his faith and relationship with God, Jesus a lot. God / Jesus / Holy Spirit. We talk about the Trinity here, people. Talking about the Trinity here. Just kidding. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm giving you some grief. Yeah, let's talk about the Psalm. Who wrote the book? Who's behind it? Because obviously it covers a long period of time. So it's not just one guy. In contrast to this is our Catholic friends over at Got Questions. Always a great reference. Not always, usually a great reference. In contrast to popular thinking, David did not write all the Psalms in the book of Psalms. In fact, Psalms includes more authors than any other book of the Bible. The following authors and the Psalms attributed to them are listed below. David wrote 75 total Psalms. Psalm 2 is attributed to David in Acts 4:25. Psalm 95 is attributed to David in Hebrews 4:7. Asaph and family, 12 Psalms. The sons of Korah, 11 Psalms. He-Man, great name, 1 Psalm. So all you need is one. With the sons of Korah, he wrote 1 Psalm, and then with the sons of 1 Psalm he wrote with the sons of Korah, and then he also wrote 88. Okay, never mind. Moses wrote a Psalm. Psalm 90 might be something worth keeping in mind. Solomon wrote 2 psalms. Ethan the Ezrahite, 1 psalm. Oh, wait, hold on, stop. Guys, I'm bad about this. David wrote 79 total psalms. Asaph and family, 12 psalms. The sons of Korah, 11 psalms. He-Man, 1 psalm, and he wrote it with the sons of Korah. Solomon wrote 2 psalms. Moses, 1 psalm. Ethan the Ezrahite, 1 psalm. Anonymous, the 48 remaining psalms. Scholars also note that the psalms attributed to David may have originated or been associated with David, but may have also included assistance from others. In total, at least 8 authors are named, and other anonymous writers certainly would add to this total. Interestingly, the Psalms were written over nearly 1,000-year period, ranging from the lifetime of Moses in the wilderness during the Exodus to Ezra. So from 1440 to 4th century. So like you said, over 1,000-year period. But most Psalms were composed during the lifetimes of David and Solomon. The ancient nature of the Psalm titles has often been questioned. Some have argued that the titles were added much later and should not be considered authentic. However, with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 20th century, copies of the Psalms from the 1st century have been found with the traditional author names included. The evidence points to the authentic nature of the traditional authorship of the Psalms. Still today, Jews and Christians alike enjoy the Psalms, and many modern songs are based on them. The enduring work of these many songwriters continues to change lives and encourage us to worship God. Some of y'all might think of, might remember the line in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they're talking to God, and he's like, "You're just like those miserable Psalms. They're so depressing." They're not all that. Let you guys decide from yourself whether you think they're uplifting, inspirational, depressing, or whatever. There it is. It's poetry and wisdom rolled into one. Ran out of characters. No room for the Holy Spirit, huh, Matt? There's always room. Prophets, kings, priests, etc. Matt felt all the psalmists were warriors, in my opinion. Warrior monks, warrior priests. We'll see. He-Man, we know, was a warrior because of the name. I mean, clearly we've all seen the movie He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Thank you. So I don't know how we're going to go through this, but ultimately, because there are 150 Psalms, but we're going to start off doing 2 a night, 2 a stream. And we're going to start this off with book 1, The Two Ways. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. But the wicked are not so, but are like chaff, which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Strong opening, right? Blessed in the, we start off with a very, very solid beginning. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, right? You're not taking the advice. You're not hanging out with what should I say? Not hanging out with. You're not including yourself as one of the wicked, right? This is not saying blessed is the man who walks like Jesus, who met with sinners and gathered them to him. This is talking about being one of them. Jesus was not a sinner. He led a perfect life. And this is hang on a second, guys. This is one of the things you see with the modernists. They try to talk about how they try to excuse sin by saying that Jesus hung out with sinners. But what we know by reading it is not that Jesus sought out sinners because he thought what they were doing was okay. He sought them out because and he hung out with them because they had done something wrong and had been ostracized for it by culturally ostracized for it, and really did not see themselves as having any path back, because the church, the temple, whatever you're going to call it, it seemed like it was incredibly sick. It was very ill in the fact that it didn't um perhaps very transactional. If you were poor or if you did something that was unpopular, if you could be made an example of, the people of the church, the Pharisees, whoever, the priests, whoever, took it upon themselves to decide who was worth forgiving and who was worth to be shunned. And they didn't. Flawed Cat is here. Um, and they didn't let somebody get forgiveness through from their own merit, from their own actions. And so there was a lot of hopelessness if you were a tax collector or a prostitute or an adulteress, if you were a leper, or if you were somebody just not in very good standing. And what Jesus did is said that no, we're all children of God. And just because you've lived a life of sin doesn't mean that all is lost. You can leave it behind. Let me be hope for you. Let me show you how serious I am about y'all's salvation. I'm going to put myself on this cross. Where he wants us to ultimately end up is how Psalm 1 starts off. Walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. This is where he wants us to be. I'm sorry, Matthew, the tax collector, who may have been crooked in his dealings, or maybe just doing the will of the Romans. The woman, the adulteress, being stoned. Go forth and sin no more. Don't walk in the counsel of the wicked anymore. Don't stand in the way of sinners anymore. Don't sit in the seat of scoffers anymore. Don't continue to be an adulteress. Delight in the law of the Lord, because what's in the law is love. And that's what the Pharisees and what some people just they want to focus so much on what the law says for what the law means behind it. The law is there as guardrails to keep us on this path of righteousness. And we're going to slip and we're going to go over and everything. But that law is kind of showing us where that path is. Because if we go outside of the law, we see ourselves in sin. We see ourselves in sin. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. So I know better about how I'm supposed to be. Talk about this to my son. The fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? Practice the fundamentals. Meditate day and night. Matt Felty said, not a social commentary focus, but constant reflection of a righteous relationship. Thank you, sir. And what does this look like when we are delighting in the law of the Lord, and on the law we're meditating day and night? He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yield fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and all that he does, he prospers. And this isn't a what I'm getting out of this. This isn't a prosperity gospel thing. And all that your actions, the things that you do. It's not that you prosper career-wise or financially, though that may be a happy side effect. But in all you do, you prosper in the fact that you do what God intends because you are obedient. And when you're obedient to God's law, obedient to what God says is right and good and true and wholesome and all that thing and all that stuff, you are prospering in your life. It might not always feel that way. Sometimes you have to make hard choices. Sometimes it's not popular to do the right thing. Just say no to drugs, right? Remember Dare? Like Dare? Same thing. It's not always popular. Sometimes that might isolate you a bit with people, with society. Take a good look at society and see if you mind being isolated from that mess right now. Trust me, you're not the only person who's sickened by it. You will find others. And you are like a tree planted by streams of water that yield its fruit in its season and does not wither. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. This will be an interesting thing for the Calvinists or some of the Baptists. It's like we're all wretched people. Who do we count? Who's in the company of the righteous? Who's in the congregation of the righteous? If we're all wretched. Just a question. It's not an indictment. I'm not trying to castigate them. That's a genuine question. When I read stuff like this, there is a way to be good. Move on to chapter 2. God's promise to his anointed. Why do the nations conspire and the king? I'm sorry, hold on. Back up. Started this all back. All wrong. Chapter 2. God's promise to his anointed. Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, saying, let us burst their bonds asunder and cast their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord has them in derision. and he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. I will tell of the decree of the Lord. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your heritage, and the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron, and dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Now, therefore, O kings, be wise, be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, with trembling. Kiss his feet, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. Almost a sarcastic wondering here, or maybe just an earnest, I don't get it. And perhaps now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is more earnestly, because we know that God is so much more overt and direct and in people's lives in the Old Testament. And you see it, right? You've got the Ark of the Covenant, right? You see God striking down armies. And I think this one's attributed to David. So it's just like there's not really a whole room for doubt. And yet these people still decide, I'm saying these people, anybody, these people still decide that they're going to put things in their own hands as far as, yeah, we see what God wants to do here. Let's stand in the way of it. Let's get in his way. God's usually, they say God is patient, but when you do that, this part at the bottom, for his wrath is quickly kindled, that's applicable. That's applicable. But why do the nations conspire and the people plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together. God didn't give this to me, so I'm still gonna take it for myself. Who is anybody to stop me? Right? But he follows up in 4. He who sits in the heavens laughs, the Lord has them in derision. God said, Oh, you made yourself king in Syria, in Egypt, in Rome. Huh, that's cute. That's cute. Maybe I'll let you get away with it. Maybe I won't. And when he won't, then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. The faith in David is legendary, or the faith of David is legendary. Let's see if I can go back to 2 Samuel, 1 Samuel, David and Goliath. Let's see if I can find this passage. So Goliath is teasing the men of Israel. All right, so and the Philistine Goliath came on and drew near to David with his shield bearer in front of him. And when the Philistine looked and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, ruddy and comely in appearance, a pretty boy. And the Philistine said to David, Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Then David said to the Philistine, "You come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head, and I will give the dead bodies of the host of the Philistines this day to the birds of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all this assembly may know that the Lord saves not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hand." And just because this is such a great part. Like Neo said, got here like Neo Rice, hadn't seen you in a while. Good seeing you, buddy. Welcome to the stream. And you too, Emmanuel. I'll read yours in a minute. Um, so and when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, David quickly ran toward the battle line to meet the Philistine, ran towards the giant descendant of the Nephilim. And David put his hand in his bag and took out a stone and slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead. One shot, one kill, no luck, all skill. The stone sank into his forehead and he fell on his face to the ground. Great 360 no scope. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone and struck the Philistine and killed him. There was no sword in the hand of David. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of its sheath and killed him and cut off his head with it. When the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and Judah rose with a shout and pursued the Philistines as far as Gath and the gates of Ekron. It's that chart about finding out. The more you mess around, the more you find out. There's also a Jonathan, David's best friend. And Jonathan said to the young man who bore his armor bearer, "Come, let us go over to the garrison of these uncircumcised, these heathen Philistines. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for nothing can hinder the Lord from saving by many or by few." And his armor bearer said to him, "Do all that your mind inclines to. Behold, I am with you. As is your mind, so is mine." So the Philistines said, "Look, Hebrews are coming. Look, Hebrews are coming out of the holes where they hid themselves." And the men of the garrison hailed Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, "Come up to us, and we will show you a thing." And Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Come up after me, for the Lord has given them into the hand of Israel." So Jonathan climbed up on his hands and feet, and his armor bearer after him. And they fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer killed them after him. And after that first slaughter, which you can't spell slaughter without laughter, which Jonathan and his armor bearer made, was of about 20 men within, as it were, half a furrow's length in an acre of land. And there was a panic in the camp, in the field, and among all the people, the garrison. Even the raiders trembled, the earth quaked, and it became a very great panic. 2 men who were told, "Come on up here. Go and get up here. I'm going to whoop that ass." Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jonathan says, "Okay, let's see. I got the Lord on my side." Everybody was in store for it. So that kind of stuff happens. David knew about this when he wrote the second book or the second psalm. Why do the nations conspire? He speaks to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, "I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill." If you also remember about David, Saul was anointed. David always honored that. David had two very specific, very real chances to kill Saul with very little effort. Saul just kind of fell into his hands a couple of times. Both times, David wanted to, but said, no, God has anointed them. It is not my place. He knew he was God's chosen. He knew he was supposed to succeed Saul. But he said, not now. God has not given me permission to do this. I am not anointed. It is not my place to kill God's anointed. As wicked as Saul has been, and as much as he has tried to kill me, because both times Saul was in David's hands, Saul was actively searching for David to kill him. Both times both times David spared him. David understood this. David understood better than us, because what would you and I have done? Would have been very hard for me to hold back. Man's got a posse out after me. He's driven me into the hills. My wife has been given to another man. Seems like she was a chore of a woman, but still, he's taken my family. What am I supposed to do? If I kill him, I can be king. I can go home. I can have my life back. David goes, this is not my will to act here. If I do this, I'm defying the Lord, and I'm not going to do it. And he doesn't. He understands it. Now, therefore, O kings, be wise, be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, with trembling. Kiss his feet, lest he be angry, and you will perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. Little beatitude sound in ending to chapter 2. Emmanuel says, like a good father, he gives and tells rules, but don't test his patience. Because when he does bring down in his wrath, then you really go and learn. You go and learn. It's that line from Samuel L. Jackson when he's quoting in Pulp Fiction. Hang on. Ezekiel 25:17. Let's see how I've never compared it. Let's see if it sounds right. We said 25:17. I will execute great vengeance upon them with wrathful chastisements. Then they will know that I am the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon them. A little bit longer. I think his speech was a little bit longer. But you get the point. Because it got here at a good time. So my group Bible references to Matthew 3:17 and Acts 4:25 if you're interested. Yes. Yes. Matthew 3:17. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." He said to me, "You are my son today, I have begotten you." In Acts 4:25. Wait, Acts 4. What am I doing? Like I never read a Bible verse before. Let's do 24 because that's mid sentence. And when they heard it, they lifted their voices together to God and said, "Sovereign Lord, who didst make the heavens and the earth and the sea and everything in them, who by the mouth of our father David, thy servant, didst say by the Holy Spirit, why did the Gentiles rage and the peoples imagine vain things? The kings of the earth set themselves in array, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his anointed." Yeah, that's right. This is the back. This is what I was saying earlier when it was saying this was back referenced when we were in reading from Got Questions that David did write these. Matthew said, "Yeah, but that would be stepping away from the river to act in the moment and revelatory judgment." There you have it. Hey, look, first two going through. I didn't do much of an intro. We talked about Job for a little bit, but still almost an hour, guys. Not bad. So, if we've got 150 of these, that's 75 episodes worth, buddy. That's 75 episodes worth, fam. We'll see how if that keeps up. We'll take it. We'll take it in stride. But this is the good thing about this is and this is what I was kind of excited for about Psalm is it's going to give us topics to talk about, kind of one-offs. It's going to give us discussion points. We're not going to be following so much of a narrative as we are. This is wisdom for us, like Veritex said. It's poetry and wisdom rolled into one. This is where we're going to look at the Bible and glean wisdom from it. Love this. Love this. So I have been excited. I'm not sure how this is going to roll out as far as formatting, but I am very excited about what we're going to be talking about with Psalm. As we read through the Psalms and Proverbs. All right, guys. Porcupine Mayhem, starting a little early. Hope everything's going well with you. Same thing for the rest of the crew. Matt Felty, Neo Rice, long time no see. Emmanuel Osorio, Veritax, Alex Moore. Have a great time at work. Dresden, Zero, all you folks. Hope you're all doing well. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for making the show better. Like I said, the show continues nightly because of you guys. Else I would have made this a weekly show. And the same thing to all you guys listening who might not be able to or might just not be commenting. It's okay. I encourage you to be part of the chat. I'd love for you to be part of the chat, but look, I'm just happy you get something out of this and you keep coming back. And I hope everything's going well for all you folks catching it on the replay. Thank you for listening, and I hope that to catch you live sometime. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody, if you haven't already. I know most of you have. Subscriptions are down 3. I'm down 483. Not moving up towards 500. Moving away. I'm moving away. Um, but yeah, just like, subscribe, share the word, spread the news, right? If this community grows, it's gonna do it on it's gonna go by you guys working and recommending it to other people. Amanda said, Stu, you're one of the few men who made me restore my faith in humanity. Look, restore your faith in God and then find men who and women, find men and women, find men, women, children, whatever, who restore your faith in the faith. They're out there. I have lots of friends, and we've all got our vices and our own sins and our own demons that we're working through. But are you doing it earnestly? Are you trying to do it? Are you trying to do right by the Lord? There's plenty of people out there. You're not going to see a lot of it on social media. And I dare say that you're not going to find a lot of it on podcasts or any of that other stuff. It's like I said, it's one of the reasons why I enjoyed what Nick does and how he kind of and that, again, I don't agree with everything Nick says. I don't agree with all of his actions. But what he does come across is honest, earnest, and he wants to help people out. You see people like that who are real and it's not trying to package a product and give it to you. It's just an authentic, hey, are you buying what I'm here? Just me being here talking? Are you buying into that? You don't have to listen. But if you do, great. And if it's something that you enjoy, great. Good people are out there, Emmanuel. You seem like one of them. But again, becoming less and less, and this is how you get better, I think, too. Becoming less and less jaded by the day because of these trading and because of these trading and learning to grow with my faith. You're doing a service, brother. The lady less and less jaded, not necessarily less becoming naive, but hopeful and looking around and saying, yeah, there's a lot of people doing things the wrong way. But even if 5%, even if 10% of the people in your town or whatever are good people, that's a lot of people. That's enough people to build a community, a friendship, a fellowship around. When God decided to strike Sodom and Gomorrah, and he told Abraham, Abraham said, what if I could find 5 righteous men? Let's go to it. Even though I've already done my closeout, I still got, look, it's my show. I do what I want. Where is it? He's bargaining with the Lord, or he's just actually asking. Then he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak again, but this once. Suppose 10 are found there. And he answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. And the Lord went his way. When he finished speaking to Abraham, Abraham returned to his place. And the entire city, if he could find 10 righteous men, he would not destroy it. Couldn't find it. I said, as depraved as San Francisco or some of these other places are, there's still good people there. Still people seeking righteousness. Maybe their personalities clash with yours, Emmanuel. I'm not the most agreeable fellow myself. But there's better men than me out there. There's better me in my general vicinity than I am out here. And I'm better because of it. All right, guys. Thank you, Emmanuel, though. I appreciate the words of encouragement. I appreciate the kind words, and I'm glad to know I'm having a positive effect on you. I hope that continues. I hope you're able to build on that even without me. Hopefully, in your long travels, you have conversations with the Lord that fill you with more hope than I can, because that's where the hope really comes from. Everybody, what's tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll continue with Psalms tomorrow night. But you guys all have a good night, and God bless.